Well, hey, folks, we're back for our second interview with one of my absolute favorite people in the world. When I think of the early years of Saugatuck track and field and cross country, I definitely think of Sean Kelly. He was special when I had him and I knew it. I honestly didn't think I'd ever have an athlete better than him. He just had so many gifts and talents beyond running, a real thinker, and just like a joy to be around. I hope that it comes through in this, but he has like a very interesting sense of humor. It can be hard to pick up on, but I always enjoyed it. Mr. Kelly was a two-time state champ in the 3200, state runner-up in the 1600, was a member of the state champ 4x8 relay, was 4 times all-state in cross country. He was an absolute stud and a beast, and he ended up running for not one but 2 Division I colleges, Central Michigan and Michigan State University. So, Sean, how have you been, man?
Good. I think back to high school, every now and then, and I'm like 8 years removed now, which is kind of crazy to think about. So I've gone in a lot of different directions after school, and really happy with where I'm at now, and really feeling that everything just kind of, even though you don't know it at the time, everything has its place.
I can tell that you can't be in Michigan because it is nearly 11 o'clock here, and it is dark, and it is very late there. Where are you at?
I am in Grants Pass, Oregon. It's a town about the size of Holland, in Southern Oregon. And so right now I'm actually about halfway through this program called AmeriCorps NCCC. I'm a little older in this program. Most people are right out of college, right out of high school. And so for anyone watching who doesn't kind of know what you're going to be doing, this is a great program. And what it is, it's a 10-month program. It's like a national community service. So 10 months you sign up. And you travel, live, work, and eat with a group of 8 to 12 other people. We're working with the food bank here. They have a farm. And so we've been doing a lot of stuff on their farm and for the food bank. I'm also partnering with another project in town here that's building what they call tiny homes. There's a pretty big homeless population here. This is kind of a project the community's kind of whipped together to build some transitional housing for people who don't have any at the moment. Like I kind of insinuated at the beginning, not necessarily where I thought I'd be. It's been a really cool journey, the 5 months I've been in here, and hope other people might see that as a path for themselves as well. So
that is pretty cool. I know that you had been talking about doing something with service. I know you thought about going to China and different places and doing stuff. I'm glad that you kind of found it, because you were working in Chicago, had a pretty cool life, working for a nice company, making some good money. I think a lot of people in your position right out of college would be like, this is the life. And it just didn't seem, whenever I talked to you, like it was really you. I don't think that, just my impressions and me knowing you, that it wasn't fulfilling you.
I mean, coming out of high school, that's, I feel like the path that a lot of, it's kind of like given to us is like, you go to college, you get a job, blah, 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 blah. And so, I was the first one in my family to graduate from college. And so, that was always something really important to me. Yeah. After graduating Michigan State 2017, I moved right to Chicago, started working. And for the first 6 months, a year, maybe, I was like, this is it. Yeah. Awesome. But kind of like you mentioned, the longer I was there, it just didn't feel right. It felt like something was missing. Like you mentioned, it wasn't really me. And it took me some time to kind of, figure that out, realize that, pivot, reassess, what my priorities were, what I, really kind of want to be doing. And I'm seeming to have, stumbled upon something pretty cool here. So.
And you kind of have like a leadership role there, right? I mean, you're, it sounds like things happen pretty quick and you move more into a leadership role. And it sounds like you're kind of in a way, a part of a niche and a team, right?
Yeah. The leadership structure hierarchy is kind of weird here. It's very bureaucratic. It's like I mentioned, it's a government program. So there's like a designated team leader, and then there's the rest of us. But yeah, I mean, we're a team of 10 essentially. You know, unlike most teams, most people are ever a part of, and that you're like with each other 24/7. So that definitely adds some interesting elements. But I'm thinking back to like my running days all the time here, and just like behave with and work with and motivate, you know, a group of people that you're working with. And so working at a food bank has really little to nothing to do with running, but you know, those elements of teamwork and that aspect of community, which was something that, you know, I really enjoyed a lot. You know, more so definitely in high school, is just kind of like being involved in the community, especially for us, like when we had success in the community, like, you know, having our back and supporting us. It's just interesting. It's just interesting, you know, what parallels there are in such vastly different experiences, and, you know, running and, you know, real jobs in the real world. Tend to think a lot about what went wrong, or, you know, what I want to be doing next. But, you know, it really is important to, you know, appreciate and focus on the present, and, you know, get everything you can out of it.
I do think it's kind of interesting that, you know, you chose running because you were good at a lot of things. That was one of the things I noticed about you quick. No matter what game or thing we played, you were always the best or one of the best at it. You're a very good athlete. You were a good basketball player, and you chose running, which is like the least glamorous of like maybe the high school sports, right? And now you chose to work at this job that is not very glamorous, but it seems like both of them, you're on these teams and you're kind of like going through these struggles together, which other people don't get. And those struggles are like what bond a team. Because I think back to your team, I was a young, dumb coach at the time. I feel
We
like,
were young kids.
and I feel like I could have done a lot better with you had I had you guys later. Um, but we were pretty bonded. Just how like hard work and struggles, losing the SAC so close so many times. That was the big barrier for us when through your time here, was trying to win the SAC. I mean, when Kerr went down, and it's just like all those things that just happened. And then when we finally did it, and then we had another hurdle to climb, which was we were hoping to win a state title, and then we didn't. We fell short. And then we were all in my room, like right after. I don't know if you remember this, but I had seen Bobby Drew, and I knew that he could throw pretty well. And I looked at you guys and I said, wouldn't it be funny if this cross country, you know, powerhouse that we kind of were, what if we won a track title? Yeah, like I was like, we don't have any sprinters. And then 6 months later, you know, we take down Albion, the biggest sprint school at the time, and we did it mostly with distance runner and Bobby Drew. I mean, Bobby Drew scored 18 points, but a lot of people don't realize that you scored 20 and a half points with the relay. You were our number one scorer that day. You're huge. Think about what you're doing now, what you did in high school, the parallels as far as like you're taking your talents and you're using them in a way that maybe a lot of people wouldn't have expected. And I think you are a great leader for us. You're always a very quiet leader. It was more by example than anything else. And I would imagine if I were to interview the 10 people you're working with, they'd all say you're funny. They would all be drawn to you and listen to you, but also would say, yeah, you can be kind of quiet. Do you think that's accurate?
I'd say you nailed it pretty spot on. But and yeah, you know, that's something, you know, over time I've, you know, realized about myself. You know, I think I'm doing a lot better job now as far as like making my voice heard, than I did in high school and college. One of the, you know, couple things that, you know, definitely could have made me a better leader, and luckily, you know, we were blessed to have Zach Kerr on our team who filled that void, you know, for us a lot better than I did. So yeah, you know, I learned from him in that regard, and it's something I'm, you know, still improving on to this day.
And I would agree, but I do think that just like in our setting, Zach was great because Zach would be like the guy that would want to go over and fight somebody, right? That would be his thing. Like, let's just beat him. Let's like physically intimidate him. And you are always super calm. Like you were necessary because you never got up, you never got down. You just were like, no, guys, we're gonna be here. The story that like runs at home for me is, state finals, we'd never won. When we came to won the 4x8, we'd scored 20 points at that point. That's the most points any team in Saugatuck had ever scored at a state meet. I'm like losing my mind because we still have races to go. You run the mile, you end up second, you nearly win. You're standing on the fence. I walk up to you. I don't even get a couple words out. And you just look at me and you stop me and you said, I'm fine and I'm going to win the 2 mile. Don't worry. And I just was like, okay, you were totally calm. And then, true to your word, you went and probably the greatest move I've ever seen in my life in that 3,200, where you took Jesse Hirscha and ran him into a lapped runner. Jesse Hirscha is like 6'2", right? You ended up being teammates with him at Michigan State. Did you ever talk about that moment?
Oh yeah.
And
I
what, 5'7"?
5'8" on a good day, yeah.
You wouldn't let him out and you ran him right into that guy in one by a step or two. It was like incredible. That actually sealed the deal for us. We had won. I couldn't do math at the time. I was so frazzled. I sent Freestone over to the results, because it wasn't like it is today where I could just pull it up. And he comes back and he's like, we won. We don't even need to run the 1,600 relay. It's over. They can't beat us. And I remember yelling at him, shut up. Shut up. You go back there and you do the math again, because there's no way. And of course you win. You're super cool, just laughing, having a good time. And it was the same way when we went to the Midwest meet with you. You were like, were the most calm, chill guy in that whole place.
I don't know. I just try to keep things in perspective, I guess. And maybe, yeah, part of it is just the way I am. Part of it's nerves, I guess. I can kind of clam up a little bit. But I mean, I don't know. It's just what I need to do to perform.
Said that you have talked to Jesse about that race. I mean, that had to be kind of fun being teammates with a guy that you beat for a state championship.
That I beat. Yeah, that I could. That's however you want to look at it. But yeah, even at Central more so, I was teammates with a lot more guys that I'd competed with than at MSU. So yeah, that that was always fun to kind of continue those rivalries at much higher levels.
So from our talking, it sounds like college running wasn't as enjoyable. And I mean, I have my take on my career, but I'd like to hear like maybe why you felt it wasn't as enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I think the way that our team was in high school, being with, more or less having the same, 5 guys or so, and the girls too, have maintaining the, internal elements of competition, not even just, running wise, but also like academic wise, try to see who get the best grades and things like that. And so we had such a unique, tight knit, interesting culture, with me and Zach and Sam and everyone, throughout those 4 years, and the guys that were younger and older than us. And I don't know, when I got to college, it was just harder to make those, make connections similarly in such a a deep way where we're really kind of involved in everyone's lives. And yeah, I think that was part of it. And then maybe just yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, I just don't think I was as into it and passionate about it as I was in high school. Especially, you rarely ever have as much success in college as you do in high school. So that's a different reality right from the beginning. And then yeah, over time, just with injuries and real life starting to kick in, was not really in it anymore. For the 7 years that I did do it, yeah, it was instrumental in helping me, be a better student, be a better athlete, be a better person.
I mean, I think one of the things about you, and people may not agree with me on this, but I think that you're incredibly humble. Like you never wanted to sit there and listen to accolades about yourself. That was not something that you've ever really I think enjoyed. Even you can even see it sometimes when you're on, like when I look back at videos or things when you're on the medal stand and you don't seem 100% comfortable. That's fine. I mean, I think that's perfectly natural. Like some people, like while you may have loved to compete, you didn't necessarily want then everyone to sit there and stare at you and talk to you about stuff. It was I feel like when we would go on runs, the more I would talk about like important meets or races, the more you would want to talk about something silly or stupid.
Yeah.
And then I finally figured that out about you. It was like, yeah, for 2 minutes, I will go over maybe what I think we should do in a race. And after that, it's just whatever silly thing that we get on. So anything else you want to like share about like where you're at?
Yeah, definitely. AmeriCorps and Triple C. There's a couple different AmeriCorps programs, I guess, but yeah, this one is unique in the fact that yeah, it's for 18 to 26-year-olds, typically 18 to 24. I'm 20. I turned 26 in December. The only reason I was able to get in is because the CARES Act extended the upper age limit by 2 years, and so I was luckily able to take advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, it's a great gap year type program. That's what a lot of people on my team are doing. Not do online school for a year, or give yourself a year to have a lot of different experiences. Because over the 10 months you get sent to three places minimum. I'm in the Pacific region, so I started out in California. We worked with Cal State Parks for about 2 months, just doing different things over there. I've been in Oregon since the beginning of the new year, and about a week and a half, we're going to be going up to Washington, some teeny tiny town up there, and we're going to be there through June. And you work with a lot of like government agencies, nonprofits. Like I mentioned, I'm with the food bank now. Was with state parks before, so it's a really cool way to travel. I've never really been out to the West Coast before, and so I'm going to Crater Lake next week. Like I've been to the Pacific Coast and like 3 different sections along the coast. So I saw the 5th tallest tree in the world on one of the redwood forests. So I mean, just a lot of like cool, interesting, unique experiences in quick succession too. 10 months, they really get you doing a lot. So for a lot of people, in this program came in, just needing to buy some time, and it's been a really valuable experience. So also you get a $6,000 education award. I forgot to mention you can apply it to student loans, schooling, whatever. But yeah, we only have about 3 months left until the program's up. So I've applied to a couple jobs already. Still thinking about Asia or South America for a little bit, depending on what traveling looks like. We just got our first dose of the vaccine the other day, so we'll be fully vaccinated in the next couple of weeks here. So
in 2013, when you guys won that state title, you inspired a group that graduated in 2017, about 10 of them in there, and they got this big smile on their face. And I can still remember Nick Butch looked up at me and he said, "We're going to win 8 of these." They didn't win 8, they won 5. I don't think that happens without your group and you were used a lot to inspire and to communicate to them about how to be in this program and how it's done. I really appreciate you giving all you gave to our program and building it the way you did. But then I also appreciate you giving me the time today, and I really appreciate our friendship. That's something that I don't think people realize. Like when you graduate, we if we have a connect, we probably become friends, and like we don't talk all the time, but when we do, it's almost like we never left. And I truly do love you, and I'm really happy for you. I'm glad you're finding your passion.
Much appreciated. And yeah, part of the reason I am where I am is because of you, old man. So yeah, you're, for anyone who's watching, yeah, your time in high school and these programs is precious. And as you can see, yeah, the connections you make, whether it be coach athlete or, athlete really can stick with you and affect you. It's been pretty mind-blowing to see, what's come after me.
And you're on that Mount Rushmore with Bobby. You kind of started it all, and without you, there is no spark. So
yeah, and kudos to the guys who came before me. Ethan, Christian. I looked up to them. I'm sure they were looking up to someone else. So it's all part of the cycle, baby.